In the fog-kissed streets of Seattle, where rain painted the world in perpetual silver, Lila Evergreen ran the Whispering Bean, a cozy nook tucked between towering tech offices and forgotten bookshops. At 27, with auburn curls that framed her face like autumn leaves and hazel eyes warm as hearth fire, Lila was the heartbeat of the place. Her days blurred into a symphony of hisses from the espresso machine, the rich aroma of roasted beans, and smiles traded like currency. She had poured her inheritance, a modest sum from a grandmother who believed in second chances, into this haven, dreaming of a life stitched from small kindnesses. Coffee isn't just a drink, she'd tell wide-eyed baristas. It's a quiet revolution. Every morning at 7:15 sharp, he arrived. Theo Langford, or so his faded name tag read, with salt-flecked hair tousled by the drizzle and a wool coat patched at the elbows. He was a fixture, like the vintage jazz crooning from the speakers, unassuming, with laugh lines etched deep and a gaze that lingered on the steam rising from his cup. The usual, please, he'd murmur, voice like gravel softened by rain, sliding a crumpled dollar across the counter. Black coffee, no frills, in a chipped porcelain mug she'd rescued from a flea market. Lila would nod, her fingers brushing his as she handed it over, a spark she dismissed as static. Rough night, she'd ask on days his eyes shadowed deeper, and he'd shrug with a half-smile. Just the city's poetry, love. Unbeknownst to her, Theo was no vagrant poet. Theodore Kensington was the shadowy architect of Kensington Global, a conglomerate that whispered through Wall Street like a ghost in the machine. At 42, with a fortune that eclipsed nations, he had vanished from headlines 5 years prior, after a boardroom betrayal left him hollow, poisoned chalice from a trusted VP who siphoned millions. I need truth, not titles, he'd growled to his one loyal confidant, a former Marine-turned-driver, before shedding his Armani suits for thrift store threads. Disguised as a down-on-his-luck rider, Theo haunted the streets, seeking solace in anonymity. The Whispering Bean became his anchor, a place where no one bowed, where Lila's unfiltered warmth pierced the armor he wore like a second skin. Their ritual deepened subtly, like roots seeking soil. On Tuesdays, she'd slip a buttery croissant beside his coffee, on the house, for the muse. He'd reciprocate with dog-eared novels left on the counter, pages marked with notes in elegant script. This line reminds me of your laugh. Lila blushed, tucking them into her apron pocket, reading by lamplight after closing. She confided in him during lulls, the ache of her fiancé's abandonment 2 years back, leaving her with a ring-shaped scar on her heart, the fear that her cafe teetered on bankruptcy's edge, rent hikes from faceless landlords squeezing the life from her dream. What's a girl to do when the world's all steam and no substance? She'd sigh, wiping counters that gleamed like confessions. Theo listened, his silences more eloquent than speeches. In truth, he orchestrated quiet salvations, anonymous tips to her suppliers for discounted beans, a mysterious investor quashing the rent dispute through shell companies. But the real unraveling came on a storm-lashed November morning. The skies wept in sheets, flooding the streets, and the Whispering Bean sprang leaks like a sieve. Customers dwindled to ghosts. Lila's hands trembled as she tallied ledgers in red ink. Theo arrived soaked, his coat a sodden shroud, but instead of his usual dollar, he placed a soaked envelope on the counter. Read this later, he said, eyes stormy. And Lila, you're the substance I've been chasing. She nodded, dazed, pouring his coffee with hands that shook like the thunder outside. That afternoon, as she tore open the envelope in the back room, her world tilted. Inside, a deed to the building, transferred gratis from Kensington Holdings, with a note in that familiar script, for the girl who brews revolutions. No strings, except the ones that bind hearts. Yours, Theo. Gasping, she bolted into the rain, scanning the alleys until she found him huddled under an awning, scribbling in a battered journal. You're him. The words escaped like a prayer, half accusation, half wonder. Rain plastered her curls, but her eyes burned fierce. Theo rose, unmasked in more ways than one. Guilty. But every morning, when you handed me that cup, it wasn't pity I tasted. It was home. He stepped closer, the downpour of veil between them. I came for coffee, Lila. I stayed for you, the way you see souls, not statuses. You've been saving me, brew by brew, without knowing it. Her heart warred, betrayal's sting clashing with the truth in his gaze. You lied. Played the broken man while pulling strings like a puppeteer. Tears mingled with rain, hot and unbidden. He flinched, but held her stare. Not played. Lived. After my empire crumbled from within, I forgot how to trust. You taught me, without agendas, without crowns. If that's a lie, then punish me. But know this, I'd trade every zero in my accounts for one honest dawn with you. The storm softened to a murmur, mirroring her resolve. Lila reached out, fingers tracing the lines fate had etched on his face. Then stay. Not as savior or shadow. As Theo, the man who reads my silences like sonnets. She pulled him into the cafe, the door's bell tinkling like a vow renewed. That night, under the hum of exposed bulbs, they talked, not of fortunes, but fractures. She shared her grandmother's recipe for resilience. He confessed the loneliness of thrones. By midnight, as Jazz wove through the steam, their lips met, tentative, then fervent, a kiss tasting of black coffee and unspoken promises. Word spread like wildfire through Seattle's veins, the barista who tamed a titan. The whispering bean flourished, not from headlines, but heart, a community hub where free workshops bloomed and misfits found mugs waiting. Theo shed his disguise for good, but not his humility. He mentored young entrepreneurs from the corner booth, his wool coat retired to a hook by the door. Lila, no longer just a server, became his equal, co-author of a life rewritten in margins. One crisp spring morning, 2 years on, Lila balanced their son on her hip, his tiny fists clutching a toy espresso cup. Theo cradled his own mug, eyes crinkling as she poured. Still the usual, she teased, the spark now a steady flame. Always, he replied, pulling her close. But make it 2 sugars today. Life's sweeter with you in it. In the rhythm of rain and routine, they prove that true wealth isn't veiled in vaults, but unveiled in the daily grace of a shared cup, poured with hands that heal, one honest sip at a time. Thank you for watching this story till the end. Sparkles. If it touched your heart, please support us. Thumbs up sign, give it a like. Speech balloon, share your thoughts in the comments. Bell, subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and make you believe in miracles. Your participation means a lot to us. Heavy Blackheart #.